Nobody could have imagined this. Not in this street. Not in this house. Not from him. But there she was. A mother. Old. Wrinkled. Her hands trembling as she stood on the sidewalk in front of the house she built with her bare hands. A black trash bag in one hand. A torn scarf on her head. And behind her, a heavy iron gate slowly closing. Mum. I have a wife now. Kids. You don't belong here anymore. Those were the last words her son said. Her only child. The boy she carried through hunger, heat, and humiliation. The one she protected when the world turned its back. Malik. The man who now stood tall in a designer suit. Closing the gate between them like she was a beggar. But here's what he didn't know. The woman he just threw out was not the helpless, poor mother he thought she was. No. She was a ghost. A ghost of power. Of wealth. Of silence. And he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. Let's rewind 32 years. Her name was Aisha. Once the fire of her village. Smart. Unstoppable. Beautiful. People said she was born to marry a king, but life gave her a construction worker. And when that man died in an accident on a dusty road, she was left alone. A widow at 27. With a baby boy in her arms. They whispered in the market. She won't survive. She'll beg before the year ends. Another broken woman. But Aisha didn't beg. She sold fabrics under the sun. Cooked by the roadside. Washed clothes until her hands cracked. And every single coin went into raising Malik like royalty. School fees. Clothes. Food he never appreciated. But she didn't care. She wanted him to win, even if she lost. Then one day, everything changed. While selling jewelry in the heat, a foreign man stopped by. A Lebanese businessman. Quiet. Clean. Mysterious. He looked at her and said just one thing. You don't belong here. And he was right. He introduced her to something the village never saw. International trade. Precious metals. Fictitious companies. Silent partnerships. She learned the game. Fast. In silence. Accounts in Switzerland. Shares imports across Africa. Even a private stake in a logistics empire shipping goods across oceans. She became rich. But no one knew. Not even Malik. Why? Because she didn't want him to grow up entitled. She wanted him to fight. To earn. To understand pain, so that success wouldn't destroy him. But in trying to teach him strength, she accidentally taught him cruelty. So now here she is. Years later. Standing outside a house she paid for. Kicked out by a boy she would have died for. But instead of crying, she smiled. Because Aisha knows something Malik doesn't. The gate he just closed? It's the same one that's about to trap him forever. The next morning Malik opened his window. Sunlight poured in. His kids were laughing in the yard. His wife was already posting on Instagram. Life was good. Clean. Controlled. And to him, his mother was just a forgotten inconvenience. He sipped his coffee and whispered to himself. Finally peace. But 3 blocks away his mother, the woman he had thrown out like a stranger, was stepping into a black Mercedes with tinted windows. Leather seats. Engine humming. Air conditioner cold. She sat like a queen. No words. Just presence. The driver glanced at her through the mirror and said with respect in his voice, Madam Aisha, the bank is waiting. She nodded. On her lap, a vintage Hermes bag. Not a knockoff. The real thing. And inside that bag, a leather notebook. Old. Worn. But priceless. Inside. Account numbers. Offshore statements. Gold bonds. Property deeds. Over $50 million in quiet, strategic silence. A few days before the humiliation, Aisha had met with her financial advisor. In a quiet residence in Cocody, behind a steel door with no cameras, she was shown her latest balance. Your Mali mine shares just surged again. $8 million in returns. The Port of Dakar deal added another 5. Your total assets now exceed 50 million. She didn't flinch. Didn't smile. Didn't brag. She just said, keep it quiet. My son must never know. But now after the disrespect, after the betrayal, that rule was about to change. Because Aisha had made a decision. Not one driven by revenge. Not anger. Not pride. But something deeper. She was going to teach her son a lesson he would never forget. A lesson without shouting. A lesson without violence. A lesson in silence and success. That same afternoon, while Malik was bragging on WhatsApp about his new piece, his mother was buying the most expensive villa in the same neighborhood. 800 meters away. Pool. Garden. Marble floors. all paid in full. And she didn't stop there. Across from Malik's construction office was an empty building for rent. She bought it. And inside it, she opened a company. Her company, Mother Courage Constructions. With a slogan that would echo through the city. The strength of a mother. The precision of a builder. And to make it sweeter, she poached Malik's top 3 engineers. Paid them double. Treated them with respect. And word started to spread. Fast. In markets. In offices. In church groups. In government circles. People whispered. That's the woman Malik threw out? She's the real boss. What kind of man treats his own mother like that? The silence was breaking. The storm was building. And Malik? Still sipping coffee. Still clueless. But not for long. Because when Aisha moves, she doesn't knock. She walks through the door. And makes the whole room hers. A few days passed. Malik was glowing. Posting Bible quotes on Facebook. Wearing matching outfits with his wife. Captioning every photo with, "Grateful God is good." He had no idea. No clue that just across the street, behind tinted glass, his mother was building something huge. That office he walked past every morning, the one he thought was still empty, now had gold-lettered signage. Mother Courage Constructions. Inside, buzzing phones. Strategy meetings. Contracts. Engineers. Progress. But Aisha didn't make noise. She never needed noise. She moved with elegance. She moved with precision. She moved like someone who knew exactly where this story was going. And then, she made her move. The press was invited. Cameras set up. Journalists waited. Curious eyes turned toward the launch of this mysterious new construction firm. And when Aisha stepped out, in a red tailored suit, Louboutin heels and designer sunglasses, the city paused. She walked to the podium, looked into the cameras, and with a calm voice that cut like fire, she said, "Sometimes, you must be abandoned by those you love, just to discover the queen inside you." No names. No accusations. But everyone knew. The video went viral before she stepped back into her office. Malik was eating a teak when he saw the clip. He choked. His wife gasped. They stared at the screen as the comments flooded in. "That's your mum? She owns a company now? Why'd you kick her out, bro? She just signed a deal with the Cocody mayor." His phone exploded. Calls. Messages. Mention. Even his LinkedIn was on fire. And that's when panic began to set in. But it was too late. The machine had started. And nothing could stop it now. The next morning, Malik walked out of his house. And froze. Across the street, a massive banner waved in the wind. "Welcome to the Queen of Construction." A crowd gathered. Claps. Cameras. Smiles. And right in the center, Aisha stepped out of her black SUV. Graceful. Untouchable. She walked past Malik, heels clicking on the concrete. Didn't look at him. Didn't blink. He tried. "Mum, please, can we talk?" She smiled without turning. "Book an appointment, with my assistant." Then disappeared into her building. And for the first time in his life, Malik understood what power really looked like. More was coming. But this was the warning shot. The real strike was still on its way. And it would hit where it hurts the most. Malik didn't sleep that night. His phone was still buzzing. His inbox flooded. His wife quiet. But the worst wasn't online. It was the silence inside his own home. His empire was cracking, and he could feel it. The next morning he arrived at his office early, only to find 3 of his top engineers gone. Their desks, empty. Their lockers, cleaned out. Their emails, auto-replies. He called their phones. Voicemail. And then he saw it, on Instagram. A post. A photo. The 3 of them standing next to his mother. Smiling. Confident. Wearing new company jackets that read, "Mother Courage BP." He dropped his phone. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, a knock on his office door. It was a delivery guy, holding a thick envelope. Inside, official court documents. A lawsuit. Filed by none other than Madame Aisha Touré. Charges. Fraud. Forgery. Unauthorized use of legal identity. Attached were copies of bank forms Malik had filled using his mother's name. Years ago. Back when he thought it didn't matter. Now, it mattered. A lot. That evening, Aisha was guest of honor at the city's biggest business gala. Gold chandeliers. Champagne. Politicians and billionaires shaking hands. And there she was. In a white dress. A diamond necklace with one word engraved on it. Gratitude. She didn't come to flex. She came to exist. And everyone saw her. the Minister of Commerce, the mayor, the media, and far across the room, in a dark corner, Malik. Alone. No one talked to him. No one sat at his table. No one even recognized him. The same man who used to scream, "This is my city," now sat like a ghost. Unseen. Unwanted. Then came the moment no one would forget. Aisha stepped on stage, took the mic, and said with a calm voice, "I dedicate my success to the one who kicked me out. Without pain, I would have stayed small. Without betrayal, I would have stayed silent. Sometimes your worst moment is the beginning of your greatest victory." The crowd rose. Applause. Tears. And Malik? He just sat there, broken. But it wasn't over. The lawsuit spread like wildfire. Banks pulled back. Investors paused. His company got flagged for audit. And suppliers stopped answering his calls. One by one, everything fell apart. His wife packed her bags, took the kids, left, and Malik, once the golden boy, now sat alone, in a house that felt like a graveyard, all because of one mistake. He forgot who raised him. 2 months later, Malik was unrecognizable. No more designer suits. No more flashy posts. No more respect. He lived in silence now. In shame. In regret. His company was under full investigation. His accounts frozen. His name, no longer a brand, just a warning. People whispered when they saw him. Some pitied him. Others laughed. But none remembered his glory days. And the worst part? He couldn't even blame anyone but himself. One night he sat in the dark. His house was quiet. Empty. Even the walls seemed to resent him. He stared at the luxury watch on his wrist, the last valuable thing he owned. He was about to list it online, when someone knocked. Soft, calm, but sharp, like lightning wrapped in silk. He opened the door, and froze. It was her. His mother, Aisha, in a simple black dress. No bodyguards. No cars. Just her. Strong. Still. Standing like truth itself. He stepped back ashamed. "You came to mock me?" She didn't answer. She walked in, sat down, laid a small wooden box on the table, and said, "I came to tell you the truth. The whole truth. Because you need to heal. Not from what you've lost, but from what you never knew." She opened the box. Inside was a sealed envelope. 8. Yellowed by time. She slid it toward him. He opened it with shaking hands. It was a letter, written by his father. "Ma chérie," it began. "If you're reading this alone, it means I'm gone. And if our son is lost, then he needs you more than ever. I've left you everything. Our gold. Our shares. Our backup plan. Use it well. Use it wisely. And promise me one thing. No matter how far he pushes you away, never stop protecting him. He will forget. But one day, he will remember who you are." Malik's tears fell without permission. He looked at her, breathless. "I never knew." She nodded. Softly. "You never asked." Then, without a word, she pulled out another paper. "A deed. To a building in Cocody. This is yours," she said. "If you want it. But you will not be the boss. You will work. You will learn. From the floor up." His pride wanted to scream. But his heart, it whispered, "Thank you." He fell to his knees, grabbed her hands, and sobbed. "I'm sorry, Mama. I was blind. Arrogant. Foolish." She didn't speak. She just held him, and whispered, "You're alive. That's all that matters." The next morning, Malik showed up at the building. At 6 a.m. In uniform. No title. No status. Just a broom. And a new beginning. And Aisha? She watched from a distance. Sipping tea. Smiling softly. She didn't just rebuild an empire. She rebuilt a man. And finally, she could